evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to part two, Who Can You Trust? Crooked River. In part one, I was telling you about a child sex trafficking operation which was run by a guy by the name of Lloyd O'Brown, who was a judge in Cleveland. Lloyd Brown was put on my case. He was the judge in my criminal matter that went before him. And I told you about how Lloyd Brown had ran out of the courtroom and feeling that he had been discovered, and how he had, after a 2-week period, I guess after he thought he was safe, he came back, he called me down to the courtroom, and he sentenced me. How he went on to forge the transcripts, falsify the records, and put me in the penitentiary. I also told this audience about how I had filed what you hear about on TV and in the movies, a habeas corpus. You know, it's a rare thing. But I had won one. You know, under the circumstances, you would expect to be able to be exonerated, you know. Well, at the time I left you on the last video, I was sitting in the penitentiary, waiting to be called back to court. Judge Herman J. River had already investigated, found that things weren't as they seemed to be. He must have found that it was what he found was that it was, just as I said, it was a crooked setup and totally fraudulent imprisonment. I hadn't had a trial. The trial had ended in mistrial. He had ran out because the Pope's agent had been trying to investigate, trying to find out what was going on. And then I guess he must have thought it was best that he go through, force the records, whatever. But it had taken a while for the courts to catch up with this. The lawyers that I had and whatever, took them almost two years to find out that there had been another judge that had tried to come in and cover, but was not in the records. And took 3 years before I was finally before a judge who didn't have anything to lose. They had moved me out of the what they call the Northern District of Ohio's jurisdiction into the Southern District. And I got blessed and ended up with Judge Herman, who was, had no interest one way or the other in the case except for maybe to see justice done. That's what we expect, so. And actually, this is what he did. He turned it around and sent it back for determination and, for a hearing to find out just what went on. Well, so now I'm sitting there in the penitentiary waiting for, to be released. I'm waiting for them to come call my number and I'm out the door. Well, things started to, as I'm waiting on this, of course I'm impatient and whatever, but things are taking a little while, to come about, and I'm like, what's going on? So finally, I started getting notifications from the Northern District Court, which he had sent the case back to for the hearing. And so I'm still waiting. I don't know what they're doing. And finally, to make a long story short, I got a notification from the Northern District Court. And when it finally came, the notification told me said that the Cleveland court had made its own determination and had denied the hearing on a technicality. Something that wasn't done on time, I didn't dot an I, didn't cross a T, something of that nature. But it was totally a ruling which just avoided the whole issue. At the time, I didn't know, while we were sitting up there, that what the Northern District Court had done is that it had taken Judge Weber's order, his case, and they had switched the case number. Yes, kind of makes you wonder who was actually going to the little sex parties that Brown was throwing with kids. Federal court's right across the street. And when you're sitting there thinking about it, you put your mind to it. You got a case without a judge. You got a case where a man is in jail without being convicted. You got a case where a judge, Lloyd Brown, forged the transcripts, made him a whole new trial. He put together a whole new trial and sent it in to the courts as being true. So he just falsified all the records. And to make a long story short, anyone with half a mind would understand. We still had the jury. We had 12 unbiased witnesses that were sitting there and saw everything that happened. There was no reason to guess about this at all. Was I convicted? Wasn't I convicted? What happened in the courtroom? Did the judge run out? Did another judge come in? What actually happens? We have 12 witnesses that were there, eyewitnesses. And obviously, that's the main reason why the federal court up in Cleveland decided to avoid the whole issue. And that opened up another can of worms. Now, I had to deal with bringing it to light that they were just straight refusing to expose the situation. They were doing anything and everything they could to protect their brother judge, I imagine that's something like what's going to be happening with this situation between Jeffrey Epstein at the time, since he had so many bigwigs rolling around on his plane, doing essentially the same thing that Lloyd Brown had done, it's a shame that that's the way it goes. And so now I'm stuck in a situation where I don't, where they're basically just denying me justice, period, because they're rolling with Lloyd Brown, and probably they've been to, and probably by their actions we can tell who was taking advantage of the services, So with this, now the district court judge they used was a guy by the name of Batista. Batista was, as I said, a district court judge. Now, when something like this happens, it's not, you don't take it to a judge at the same level. Herman Weber was a district court judge. If there's any change in his order, you have to take it to a different level. You wouldn't take it back to the district court. It would have to go then to the circuit court, the appeals court for the district court and the circuit court, where it had to have a higher degree of judge like we have in our little three-tier system. So this now clashes with the judges and the whole idea of justice being administered. You can't have a captain overruling a captain, a sergeant overruling a sergeant. So now the court is basically in a situation where this is a duck and cover for real. Okay? So this thing being said, now I have to find someone to help me force them to give me the justice I deserve, because they do not want this judge to be put on, his head to be put on the block for all the crimes that he's committed. Yeah, they're protecting this pedophile. They wonder yourself, why? Now, they had a thing called stare decisis, and then stay the decision. And they just blew that out the water, So I got in touch with this guy. Okay? Now, this guy, I'm sure you know. Long-time hero ever since 1962, when he was the first American in to ever travel in space. Yeah, this is John Glenn. Okay? He was the senator at the time. So John Glenn started an investigation. And the Glenn investigation went on for a while. And Glenn, I guess, went into it. And they know they got the end wrong. They had the jury and everyone else that knows this, and they just don't want to admit what they've done. So I'm, straight dumbfounded. Having said that, I'm going to end part 2 of this episode of Who Can You Trust? Crooked River. Stay tuned for part 3. There's more to come. Many more surprises and a lot more people that you know. So, stay tuned. I'm sure you won't be disappointed.